Sedges can play a very important role in many different ecosystems. Many people consider sedges a problem plant or a weed in their home lawn, but under certain circumstances of low maintenance, they may be actually the best plant material to prevent wind and water erosion. Here in this low maintenance shade area, we see one of Oklahoma's many native sedge species. Sedges are a family with several different genera in them and many different species present. It's believed that there's over 70 different sedges native to Oklahoma. What's universal amongst all sedges is a triangular shaped stem in cross section. So if you were to rub the stem of the sedge between your thumb and forefinger and you could feel and observe that it was three-sided, you'd know that you were working with a sedge. Sedges typically form rhizomes, underground stems. In the absence of light, they'll appear white in color, and many sedges form overwintering structures called nutlets, vegetative tubers that allow them to overseason droughts and extremes of condition. They have short or long rhizomes, and they may actually have turf-type characteristics, meaning that they can be mowed and they form a relatively dense, somewhat traffic-tolerant cover, such as what we see here. Over much of Oklahoma, a native sedge called Texas sedge can be found, and there actually are cases where one can purchase it and use it in low maintenance shades. So while this may not be a very dense turfed area, this native rhizomatous sedge here is actually doing a fair job of taking both shade and drought over the years. I would next like to show you an area where we did a demonstration with a turf-type tall fescue in this droughty shade. Initially established the tall fescue with irrigation and fertilization, but then released it to low maintenance conditions. And if you see this area here, and you see the absence of living cover, you've witnessed what can oftentimes happen to tall fescue in a dense, tree-shaded area where the tree competes for moisture and nutrients, and during wet years we'll have bad cases of Rhizoctonia brown patch that kill the tall fescue. Notice the absence of living ground cover in this area here, and just a few small patches of tall fescue survive. So actually in this case we would have been better off with the original native vegetation, a native Oklahoma sedge, which we showed you earlier. So killing out sedges in the dense shade is not always a solution for good ground cover conditions. While native sedges can be a valuable component of low maintenance shaded areas in our landscapes, many people don't like sedges as a part of their highly cultivated lawns. In order to properly manage a lawn and really keep sedge at bay, there are several points I'd like to stress are necessary. First of all, we want to pick a properly adapted vegetation for the site. That means a well-adapted turf grass, one that's got good environmental stress resistance and is known to be well adapted for that site. We also want to properly manage it through regular fertilization, irrigation, and several different pest control procedures. Oftentimes the sedges are worst where the turf grass dies out and is opened up, especially in patches where spring dead spot has struck Bermuda grass, or we've had winter kill of Bermuda grass, or very heavy traffic, or otherwise just not had good turf grass color. Here in this landscape we can see one of those areas. You can see this area lacks good Bermuda grass cover. We have soil exposure, relatively full sun, and look what we have. We have several sedge plants invading this area. So the light coming to the soil surface has really allowed either the sedge seed or the tubers to germinate and compete for space with the desirable turf grass. In this area we could certainly pull out the sedge. We could spray the sedge with a herbicide, but really we need to address the lack of cover. That's the most important thing, and that's the basic of IPM in this situation. Now, once we've got the proper grass in place and we've got good fertilization, irrigation, mowing practices, you may still have a few sedge problems. We might then turn to a herbicide if there's too many sedge plants to pull. There are several herbicide choices. You have to know whether you're working with a cool or warm season grass. Universally across the board, whether it's cool or warm season turf grass, Basagran as a contact herbicide can be used to kill and suppress yellow nut sedge in either warm or cool season turf. Also, sedge hammer can be used in that capacity on warm or cool season turf grasses. Then there are certain turf grasses for which herbicides have to be specially matched. Products such as Certainty and Monument are very good on both yellow and purple nut sedge, but they can only be used in warm season turf grasses. They would actually be very injurious to cool season turf grasses. So in summary, with sedge control, we want to pick a properly adapted turf grass, get it well established, manage it properly, and then if we still have sedge problems, we can pull just a few of them, but if you need to turn to a herbicide, there are some herbicide products that can work, but as always, we have to read and follow the label in order to get effective and safe sedge control.
We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.